Ollantaytambo is known for having the finest granite stonework in the world. This amazing stonework is accepted as pre-Inca, so we don't know who did it or even how it was done, but we do know that we can't do granite stonework this precise, even today, with the ridiculously expensive technology and cutting tools developed in recent years. And today, thousands of people gaze upon this ancient site with awe and wonder. And in late July, like right now, winter here in Peru, you can witness the sunrise spilling into this valley and catching the very edge of the Temple of the Sun straight on, with its shadows completely showing all the character that is in those 6 fantastic stones. 2 years ago, I made one of my most viewed videos about Ollantay, and today I climbed it again and re-narrated my informative tour of this incredible site in stabilized 4K during this perfectly timed July sunrise. So kick back, grab a drink, and enjoy. Sunrise on the finest granite stonework in the world. Good morning, buenos dias. Today is July, oh heck, I've forgotten, I think it's the 19th, and it is 7:15 in the morning. The park has been open since 6. I thought I'd be getting here with a small crowd of people, and I'm alone. I'm climbing up Ollantaytambo again. Love this place, and I thought I'd just go ahead and give a little narration while I walk my way through the place by myself. Literally by myself. A little note as I walk up. Trying to find a coffee here in Peru at 6 o'clock in the morning is turning out to be an absolute, I don't get it. Peruvian coffee is so good. They must only keep it at their homes. If I were to open up a Dunkin' Donuts here in Ollantaytambo, oh, call it alpaca donuts or something of that nature, well, there'd be a lot of Americans huddling around me getting a muffin, a donut, and a fresh coffee. It's strange that the hotels themselves don't put a Mr. Coffee out there with sugar, coffee, café, sugar, the cups, the spoons, the cream, maybe even a Flavia machine or a Keurig would be a brilliant idea. At every place we've stayed so far, the trash is over there, the coffee's hidden, the sugar can't be found, the spoons are in a drawer somewhere. There's no self-serve. Maybe at the other hotels it is that way, but not at the places we've been staying. We've been doing bed and breakfasts the whole time, and they don't seem to understand how important it is. If you go down to the square, you'll find somebody setting up their wares and the items that they're selling, but nobody actually has a coffee maker sitting out there. Nobody's making coffee. First thing for an American is the coffee and a trip to the top of Ollantaytambo, the finest stonework in the world. I mean, it's pretty simple. Thousands of people come here every day. I think at one point we looked up here from the hotel room, which is right there on Patacalle, and it was a solid string. Boom, 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 all the way up. They really only have one circuit right now. They usually have 3, but they've blended 1 and 2 together. Solid string. There had to have been 1,000 people up here in that hour by itself. And since there's no bathrooms up here, you can really only stay up here for 2 hours. So anyways, the most beautiful double jammed doorway, entranceway, I can't call it a doorway. There are no hinge marks like you would find at castles in England or Russia. It's an entranceway, which clearly went that way because the bedrock is to the left, a la puerta izquierda. So this is one of the most fantastic entranceways, and here I can get a closer look at things. I mean, look at this stonework. There just can't be any more. I'm not going to put the camera anywhere near the stone with this route because you just simply cannot deny that stone softening is possible somehow. We'll have to leave it to science and today's smartest minds to try and figure out what apparently they knew pre-Inca. And that is another thing. I found that pre-Inca is an accepted terminology. They have signs around here that say pre-Inca. So even all those people who feel that all this is Inca work, they know, no, somebody else did it before the Inca. And well, so I'm going to refer to it that way. When it comes to Peruvian history and the great Inca history, there's also the pre-Inca history. Now, I'll use megalithic as more of a global reference, you know, the pre-Egyptian, the pre-Roman, the pre-Greek histories that exist, the prehistory for the rest of the world. But here, it's pre-Inca. That's what I'll call it. And well, there's the bedrock. How is it that they can soften stone and flatten it out to such perfection, and yet the bedrock, for some reason, they couldn't do anything with it? Maybe they were going to come back and chisel it, but I envision this entire front is having windows, and down there in the ground there are bits and pieces that suggest that this entire wall here also had trapezoidal windows of some type. So I envision this entire place as being complete. Maybe they had a wooden roof system across the top, but that this was a living area of some type. Living, thinking, eating, functioning area. I don't know, some type. So, but most of it, with the exception of possibly the world's oldest doorway, along with the one at Pisac, complete. That is the world's oldest doorway in its original position, complete. I have stuck my head into several of these things and I've hummed, just as Brian Forrester would say you really need to try and do when you're here. I have noted the pattern that exists here. The keystone, whether it's upside down or upside right, and then over here, the bottom tooth. And in this one, it's intriguing. It looks like a mouth with two eyes, but single bottom tooth, keystone. And as you go down the line, keystone, single bottom tooth, keystone, single bottom tooth. However you want to refer to this pattern, it is clear keystone, single bottom tooth, keystone, single bottom tooth. You have 10 windows, all with a perfect pattern that work in that way. You have two stones here that look like they were cut from the same location at the quarry, managed to be transported here in sequence and used in the shape that was needed. The bottom row does not have any pattern whatsoever. In fact, over here, the bottom row has an extra row underneath it. There's two rows on the bottom, whereas down here they figured, nope, we've got stones big enough, we're just going to fill the bottom with big stones. A lot of symmetry here. Every single one of these windows is exactly the same. They line up perfectly. If you were to take a straight board and go right down the edge of this thing, you would find that they line up perfectly. Here I am. Clearly though, even though some of the steps look like they've got a 17-inch stride in a lot of different locations, clearly they weren't any taller than I am. Whoever made this doorway, pre-Inca, stonework here. And you know that this is original just by the way it fits. And notice that this whole thing here has moved in just 3/4 of an inch, and that's why there's the gap here. This wall has been bumped in just a little bit, but this is its original location where it was made. Look at the grain that's in this stone. Try and call this stuff geopolymer or whatever. This is the original grain of this stone. This is the original intrusion through an igneous rock. This is rhyolite, very hard granite. somehow it is possible to soften rock. All right, I'm going to mosey on up here from this doorway. I'm going to mosey on up to the top. My plan was hoping in July that you could actually catch some sun on the Sun Temple itself. But I fear that between the shadows of this mountain and that mountain, at this time of year, you simply cannot catch the sun on the face. We've been up here several times, and so far, now the sun's too far going from east to west in the wintertime here in Peru to actually catch it on the face of the Sun Temple, which makes you wonder then why they call it the Sun Temple when you can only catch the sun on it 9 or at most 9 months out of the year. Sure, in the summertime it's the Sun Temple, but in the wintertime it's kind of the dark temple. Anyways, on the western side of Ollantaytambo, I never realized that there was such incredible stonework. And right down there you see where a doorway is missing. So, you know, they feared possibly people coming from each direction up onto these very thin terraces. I think these were more fortress battlements than they were planting terraces, much like the other side. I don't think they were designed for, I mean, water used to come in here from the corner. It was all aqueduct to this location, but I don't think this was for planting. I think this was for defense on both sides. But look at this stonework. It's enough about that. Let's just keep going. Such a thin little walkway for thousands of people to fumble their way over here. And here at the very top, a waka seat. Now usually you find these in bigger stones, much bigger stones like a Pisac and down here on the other side of Ollantay. But here's one. It's rather complete. You know, a regular cutout on a much smaller stone. And it makes you wonder if they moved it or broke it off. This whole area up here was a waka. I'm certain that underneath this sand, which is now concrete, because believe it or not, they mixed the concrete with sand down here and then let the rain turn it permanently into a gorgeous floor. The floors around here are this self-rained concrete flooring. But I'll bet this whole area here, before they rebuilt this place, was the same type of cutouts that you see at Pisac, at Kenko, at Little Kenko, and so many other wakas all around the place. Here on the back side of this wall, you'll find another wall, just like you do at the Temple of the Sun. This is a very fine wall here. Very, very fine wall, much like the Temple of the Sun, made in a lot of the same way, but then huge blocks. But then you look at the back and it has a thin row. What that tells me was this was designed to be a structural wall, to me, not for any kind of a living space, but a temporary structure so that they could park a crane here. My original theory was that this area had 3 cranes, and I stand by that. But the fact that there's a second wall behind this one, as well as a second wall behind the Temple of the Sun, proves it. I mean, these were temporary walls built for a reason of parking a crane or something big up on top there. And all these blocks that have been resituated by the Inca also confirm that. So anyways, back to another item. Thing you have to understand is that a long time ago, I'm talking like in the 30s, this whole area was reconstructed for tourism. Several things had to be propped up, relocated, and fixed. One was this doorway down here. Those blocks had a crap ton of pile of other blocks behind it. That doorway was pushed outward. It was just wrecked, but they knew it was a great centerpiece. So in the 30s, it was, and for extended period of time, they had a crane up here. They had a crane up here fixing, moving, adjusting, readjusting. I think the Sun Temple was also part of the readjustment. Those last 2 blocks were on their side. The Inca couldn't move them. That was moved. This was over here. And so they came up here with a monstrous crane and fixed the thing. Because even then, Peru knew that they needed to do something to, let's put a block up for display so that the whole town could see it in anticipation of what they're going to see when they come up here. That's why that block is situated on top of all this. You can't have a pre-Inca stone on apparently Inca stonework. So that explains that. And then they fixed the doorway, and they took as much of the junk that was here and they relocated it to a place where you could actually walk around it. They resituated, they fixed, they did everything. And that was when Ollantaytambo of the future, of today, became a tourist attraction. And so now here I am. It is 7:30 in the morning, and I look down and there's still nobody here. Whew, it's windy and cold. Right now it's probably about 35 degrees. I can't quite see my breath, but it's getting cold. And oh, there's a couple of the guys that work here down there. They don't want to come up here until there's 200 people up here, maybe 400 people. But and I've got this place all to myself. The sun is hitting over there quite nicely. It might, you know what? It will. I'm gonna hang around here until I finally see some sun on the Temple of the Sun. And still unable to find the saw cut stone. And now that I'm the only one on the mountain, I wonder if anybody'd shoot me or blow a whistle at me. I'm so tired of having people blow whistles constantly. But somewhere around here, let me take one more look. Somewhere around here is the cut stone. Okay, well, time to quickly find it. Where is the cut stone? They're probably watching me with binoculars. Where is the cut stone? Okay, not having any luck. What, did they get rid of it? Brian Forrester, where is that cut stone? I don't get it. Somebody's watching me. I can feel the eyeballs on my back of my head, but I still don't hear any whistles. Excuse me. Boy, it's cold up here. The wind is kind of cutting through here really strong. I hope it's not messing up the microphone. I don't see a cut stone. I do not see a stone that appears to have any cuts through it. I wanted to see that wire line, that stone myself. Where the heck is it? How many times does the guy have to come up this mountain in order to find? Oh, I found it. It's way the hell over here. Found it. Jeez, I'll tell you. Wasn't expecting it to be here. All right. There is this. Oh, good. I think I brought the wrong coat. Yes, indeed. That is a cut line. Clear as day. It is not a crack. It ends here. This surface is as straight. Obvious. I think it's a wire saw, just as if this was a piece of clay. Oh my God, right down to here. You know, if you really wanted to, you could take another saw, another wire line, but maybe when it was still soft and somebody put their hand against it here and said, no, we don't want this rock, it's not the shape we need for right now. This, they probably could have at the time put their hand against it, smoothed it down like it's clay and used it in a different spot, but they stopped or changed their mind. But that is clearly a wire saw cut. Was this done in the 30s? Was this done in the 1970s with a wire saw? No, this was done pre-Inca, when this rock had been treated, it had been soaked, it had been sonicked, it was now soft, it was being moved to a location, but then they changed their minds, or it was used, well, they put it down, they were going to use it later, it dried. They were using sonic saws when they were cutting these things as they were clay. Just isn't any argument about it. I'm really glad I found this stone, along with all the other stones that were clearly put on top of other soft stones, and you can see there's a way to turn granite into clay, to shape it into the need that you want. Keystone, single undertooth keystone, there's a way to shape it into what you want, and then push it into place, press it into place, use a sonic tool on these nubs to get that little, you know, like with concrete. I did 3 years worth of concrete work when I was a young buck, and we had that vibrating knob. We had a special name for it. I can't remember what it was called. Something perverted, I'm pretty sure. And we dip it into the concrete when we need to settle it in deep, and we would use that to vibrate the entire pour on that section, and you could see the vibration was pulling the concrete into the form. This is the same kind of thing. It's been cut to fit. You wedge it in there, you hit it with a sonic tool, and boof, it fits right to position. You come up to the next piece, you got that perfectly cut item that you want, you mash it into place, you hit it with that sonic knob, and it pushes it right into place. Pardon the sound effects, just kind of helps a little. This morning we have the moon above the sun temple. This is going to be a glorious morning. You can see the sun just creeping through over there in the valley. And we walked up that valley a long distance yesterday and did some rock hounding, because that's what we are. We're rock hounds. Found some really interesting stones. And I do believe the sun is going to hit here any minute now. I can almost see it slicing through over there. But so this was going to be an embankment that held, and I held the crane, one of the 3 cranes. And such as I've done in that crazy video that now has well over 300,000 views, it would lift up the stones as they came in from the quarry. Whew, whew, whew. I wore the wrong hat and wrong coat. The stones came up this way. There's a straight shot that goes right down to the valley from the quarry way over there. They would park them here, prepare them, lift them up all the way around on this big crane to the other side to where the soaking tanks were. And the soaking tanks were all along this area, and they would put the stones that were just raw right over there in the corner. The crane could reach 100 feet in that direction, and then they would put them in the soaking tanks, soak, time, bring them over to here to where they were cut, right where the cut stone is. Second crane is right here, and they would lift them around to the positions, and they made the west wall first. It's complete, and they were making the east wall and the living quarters and getting ready to do what they needed to do when something changed. It's all stopped. In progress, Ollantaytambo. It all shows. And the water would come down. They had water that came down an aqueduct on the other side. This was not an aqueduct entirely. It was a pathway, just as it is today. All these different stones were parked on top of this monstrous crane. And it all stopped. I hope you've watched my other video. I might do it over again, re-accentuate the art, the lost art of stone softening. That art meaning the ability to cut stone, and that in itself is another mystery. But you can cut stone straight, such as the straight stones that are over there and the tired stones that are on the west side. But then creating these dimples, putting it into a holding sled or a holding tray. These dimples would hold it in the holding tray while it was dipped into the holding tanks. Sonic was applied to the tanks, moved along, taken out of the sonic tanks when, who knows, maybe it took 2 months, 2 years, 200 years. It might have taken a long time to soak these things until they were soft and they attained this type of a I mean, this stone in itself shows the twist. You can see that it almost looks trapezoidal and twisted. Once that happens, you take it out of the soaking tray, you cut it up. It's a big thing of clay, almost like whale blubber. And you can cut it to the shape that you want. And you've probably got a length of time before it starts to cool. Maybe 2 hours, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2 years. But either way, the granite starts to return to its actual molecular valences, where its atoms start to reattract not only to itself, but to, of course, untouchable Mother Earth. And it becomes heavy again. I mean, that's another part of it. When you separate the atoms from their valences, you are also separating them from the natural attraction of gravity, which makes the stone not weightless, but less weight. So that this rock in itself could weigh as little as 200 pounds, 600 pounds. But even then, it becomes manageable. Much better than 4,500 pounds, 2.25 tons. That's the lost artwork of stone softening. Turning granite into clay and then being able to manipulate it for the use that you need. And that is what's been lost. So as the camera turns back towards the Temple of the Sun, it's still not in the sun, but then again, neither am I. I'm going to turn the camera off for a second here, put my hands in my pocket, try and warm up a little bit. We now have a gentleman coming up here to assume his role in watching and making sure that I don't cross any lines. I'm really glad I found that cut stone and was able to walk through. I will start the camera up again when that slice right there starts to fall on the Temple of the Sun, which really looks like it might be happening right now. It might be happening right now. And then we'll be able to see some of the fun that they had here at the Temple of the Sun, and it is happening right now. So let's take a look as you see the shadows falling on the Temple of the Sun, and the sun starts to slice through. Look at these shadows. So the clear pattern, I'm going to back up and just enjoy this moment for a moment. The beautiful six-stoned Temple of the Sun here at Ollantaytambo, July 19th, 2022. Look at that. I am honored to be here. Okay. Well, at this point, I'm going to go right down the line, and then I'm going to put the GoPro down and take some pictures. The scoop marks on the eastern stone, the monstrous nubs on the second stone, these wonderful Peruvian shapes on the third stone. More of the scoop marks. The monstrous nubs on the fourth and fifth stones. And then the sixth stone, also with scoop marks and a little bit of character from the locals. All right. I'm going to go ahead and, well, take some pictures, put this GoPro down in its 4K magnificence, and start taking some pictures. This is fantastic. I decided to go backwards against the circuit since there's nobody up here, well, okay, there's 2 people up here and 1 security guard, and catch the sun when it's on the doorway. Since the sun is making its way around the mountain, and just saw it up there in the Temple of Sun, let's take a look at what it looks like when the morning sun hits the doorway. Isn't that beautiful? Wow. Another little thing I'd like to add, though, while we're looking at this beautiful double jammed doorway, is I never did find the outlets for the hot springs here, the bathing pools here at Ollantaytambo. I had seen some photos by Brian Forrester, who really got me curious and started in all this, and I look forward to the day when I can meet him. I'd seen some photos that he took of this area, this terrace and this terrace, that just made me feel that this was a hot spring. I'm sorry, not a hot spring, but a bathing pool, and that the water poured into this area. I mean, these stairways are definitely Inca, all the stairways. Without these stairways, what is behind this magnificent stonework? Well, the video that I did is well over, it's been heavily viewed, 40,000 views. It's a horrible little video, but I was going to redo it again, but I wanted to find the proof that this was in fact, bathing pools. I didn't find that proof. There's nothing. This one actually looks like it has bedrock in it. The dirt here, how deep does it go? The dirt that's there certainly doesn't look to be any bedrock in this upper terrace, but it's been filled in. Well, that's part of my theory, is that they were filled in, they were destroyed. The water supply was, it all ended. It was destroyed. I still feel that these were bathing pools, and this was a living area, and these are defensive, maybe growing if you had to, but there's no proof, absolutely no proof, that this was bathing pools. But along the lines of everywhere you find pre-Inca stuff, pre-Inca work, there's water. Where is the proof that there's any bathing pools outside of brilliant, amazing stonework? Where is the proof? So I have to rethink that, redo that, reconsider, continue to look. My belief is that the drains are underneath this stone, that if you were to remove all the Inca stonework and steps, you would find more brilliant, amazing stonework, and that if you took out all this dirt, you would find a pool. But no proof, other than the fact that there simply isn't any other indicator that there's a water bathing area at Ollantaytambo anywhere else. So now the sun has come up over this beautiful stuff, and again, I have a photo of where this was all kiltered, knocked out of place, and then all this work was redone, well, fixed. It was fixed. A lot of these stones have been pushed out of the way, and now we are seeing this beautiful 10-window display, the 10 niches in the sun. Isn't this incredible? And others have made their way up here, and it looks so amazing in the sun. And I'm going to take more pictures, and we'll go from there. Absolutely wonderful. Alright, I got to go out of this way the same way that you're supposed to go through, so I just want to do a walk by, nice and steady. Oops, they're taking pictures, so I don't want to disrupt their photo shoot up ahead. They also made the effort of trying to get out here very early in the morning. I'm going to sneak by them, and then I'm going to be done. Here we go.
So go ahead.
Excellent. sun is now fully up and everything is looking beautiful here. I'm going to take a couple more pictures, then go have breakfast. The sun does in fact hit the Temple of the Sun in July. You just got to get up here early in the morning. So if that's what you do, skip breakfast, head out here to Ollantay early in the morning. The weather, by the way, in July is perfect. Heading down. Time to go get some brekkie. Now, so I guess I could look at my phone and figure out what time it is, but you can do the circuit here at Ollantaytambo in an hour. I mean, I took 20 minutes doing that narration. Can't believe this GoPro is still working. I think it's still working. Yep. I did the 20 minutes worth of narration. If you really wanted to walk through here, take the pictures, you can do it in an hour. See, there's no evidence over here whatsoever of where the water is allowed to come out. If water goes in, they always have a location where the water can come out. But that could all be fill. This whole thing here could be fill. It would be an awesome day if they really wanted to turn this into an archaeological site where they actually start removing some of the landfill. It's just like Sacred Valley. They need to remove what's been filled in by whomever. So, all right. Well, let's make our way out of here. Gonna take that path, which will be so much faster now that you're not stuck in a pack of all these people that are enjoying the view and taking pictures. I'll be able to fly right through here now. And here is really the balcony shot where so many people they do pack them tight in here, because this is a gorgeous view of Ollantaytambo. Especially early in the morning. What an amazing place. What an amazing place. And also, in our week-long stay here in this part of the Sacred Valley, not including the other locations that we've been at, we've noticed something that's unfortunate. The buses come into the market, they drop people off, they come up here, they do the circuit. I don't know how much time they're told that they can have, but to just come into Ollantaytambo on a bus and then take 15 minutes to go through the beautiful market here, and then to get back on that bus, drive through the Plaza de Armas, and then to go to the next spot is unfortunate. The town of Ollantaytambo, you could spend 5 days here, still not see find all the great little places. We found a little pizza joint on the other side, wood-fired pizza, little restaurants, the Patacalle, every little alleyway that runs upward, all the different stonework. It's scattered all throughout this town. The people, the history, the Inca history. There's so much here. If you really want to soak yourself in Peruvian history, you need to spend some time here, not just drive through it on a bus. I know that's the best way. You get a translator, you get a tour guide, you get a package deal. But to really feel the culture, to really feel the color of these amazing people who live in this wonderful town and all the other towns. We're going to go to Urubamba for lunch today, make our way out up 28A and going back to Cusco. And we're going to stop at the Plaza de Armas in Urubamba and enjoy it there. But you know, take some time, get off the beaten path and try a few of the restaurants. You can see the buses right now, the Turístico buses, autobus. They buzz through town and then they buzz out. And my recommendation is to really try the Airbnbs. They're very gracious. Sure, they don't make coffee at 6 in the morning, but they are so friendly. And so many of them are bilingual, and such as I wish I were. And bring your translator app, whether it's Google Translate or iTranslate or whatever. But take the time to really check out places such as Ollantay, which is the jewel, I think. Machu Picchu was okay. What a freaking headache trying to get there, though. Wow. I mean, sorry, I thought my battery died, which it should. My battery's gonna die if I don't get some breakfast into me. But yes, Machu Picchu was also amazing. Limited, very limiting, but so darn difficult to get to. Passport, ticket, boleto, the whole thing. It's just the logistics of getting to that location. Ollantaytambo is much better, and there's plenty of Airbnbs and hotels here that just want to work with you and to make breakfast for you in the morning. I'm going to be showing up for breakfast here at 8 o'clock, and I think they're going to be they're going to be a little upset at me. So anyways, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Please check out my other videos. Also, I've been doing some 360 Google photography while I've been here. I think I've done 10 of them at some interesting and key locations. Please take a look at those. I'm going to try and find a way to link viewers to those. I will be continuing to publish my perspectives, which are a combination of what other people share with me about, well, pre-Inca history and pre-Egyptian, pre-Greek, prehistory. Maybe I should change the whole chapter name to Intriguing Prehistory Perspectives. Thanks for watching.